back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel we're going to be talking about Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol and its 4K Blu-ray from Paramount. But before we dive into that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, lists, and podcasts, we try and do them all here on the channel, and nothing would help the channel out more than by just simply liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So continuing in the tradition of a different director directing in the Mission Impossible movies, this time we get Brad Bird directing this one. And this is actually the first Mission Impossible movie not to be produced with Tom Cruise and his producing partner at the time, Paula Wagner. This was actually produced by Tom Cruise and J.J. Abrams, who had directed Mission Impossible 3, but he didn't come in to direct. He was actually directing Super 8 at the time. So they brought in Brad Bird, who was most famous for directing animated films, most famously at the time, The Iron Giant, The Incredibles, and Ratatouille. So he was more of an animation director. This was going to be his first live-action directed film, but for some reason, Tom Cruise thought that he could handle it. He thought that, you know what, you're a live-action director, you can do this. And you could actually see Brad Bird's fingers all over this movie. If you've seen The Incredibles or Ratatouille, the way that people perform in those movies, even though they were just animated characters, you could actually see it translate to this movie, because I think that this is the most lighthearted fun of the Mission Impossible movies. This kind of leans more into the comedy. This becomes almost a strictly action comedy film, and for me, I think this is the best of all of the Mission Impossible movies. This is the exact kind of tone that I want in these movies. Yes, it's still got very high stakes, but you're never bored. You know, they're having fun. Nothing is ever taken too seriously. Even in the serious moments, you know, they're played perfectly. I think Brad Bird's direction is amazing in this movie. It's really a shame that Tomorrowland did so bad and he wasn't able to direct more live action movies, because he's very hands-on. That's why he hasn't directed that many feature films in general between animation and live action, because he likes to oversee every little bit, every little detail. So he doesn't want to go into it unless it's going to be, you know, his vision. And this very much is his vision, but yet it's a great team up with Tom Cruise, who, you gotta remember, he produces these films. These are his babies, and he's just willing to do anything. And the thing that this movie is probably most remembered for is the stunt in Dubai where he's running on the side of the building, on the world's biggest building, risking his life. And I remember at the time, I guess it was 2010 or sometime in early 2011 when they were shooting this movie, and I remember seeing all the pictures of him doing that, and it was a big deal about this movie, and I think that really helped to get the hype for this movie, because I look at Ghost Protocol as when the franchise made that turn. I really do think that this is separated in the two trilogies. You know, the first trilogy, you know, every movie kind of feels different because they had different directors for each of them, and they all brought their style to this, and, you know, this movie does feel different from every other movie as well, but I do think that this is kind of where the franchise started to go into the more lighthearted, but yet every movie has this big risky stunt in it. Yes, Tom Cruise and everybody was doing their stunts in the first three movies, but in this movie, I really felt like they were just always trying to one-up the last movie going forward. And they all kind of have a similar tone between this, Rogue Nation, and Mission Impossible Fallout. Whereas I always felt like the first Mission Impossible movie feels so different from Mission Impossible 2. And then that movie feels so different from Mission Impossible 3. You just really have the one through line of Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt. And, you know, you bring in always Ving Rhames' character. Even though Ving Rhames' character has a very small role in this one, he still does pop up. But the supporting players in this movie are actually some of the biggest supporting players in the entire franchise. You bring in Jeremy Renner, who was actually rumored to be taking over the lead IMF role going forward. Same thing that kind of happened in the Bourne franchise. He just kind of couldn't catch a break, but, you know, he became Hawkeye, so no harm, no foul there. You bring in Paula Patton, and this you really expand Simon Pegg's character. Yes, he was in Mission Impossible 3, but he really is that comedic character in this movie. He really does bring the comedy tone to this. He's kind of really handling those kinds of moments, and he's perfect. You know, he's out in the field now. You know, he's a regular IMF agent. He's out there with Tom Cruise's character. They're really doing a lot of the work together, like the Kremlin scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. It's really the two of them, and I love their just banter back and forth. And you can tell that Simon Pegg and Tom Cruise really do get along in real life. So it's really cool, like when you watch the behind the scenes, to see them actually, the way they talk to each other. And then, you know, obviously the opening scene in the prison, like, just, you know, you're setting it off correctly with the tone of this movie being an action comedy, and they just play that perfectly throughout. And then you have all the crazy action stunts like in Dubai, or the very ending with the cars just falling and just, you know, they were really destroying cars. The entire Dubai sequence, though, is perfect from beginning to end, from the time they get there to the very end in the sandstorm with, you know, the tension building between, are they going to crash these cars? And they really crash those cars head on, because all this stuff was done practically. And that's another thing that the Mission Impossible franchise has always nailed, is that nothing looks fake because it's not fake. You know, you might remove some wires and stuff like that. You know, we might have some CGI there to help, you know, fill in some holes, but other than that, everything is really done. And I think that's another thing that helps to separate the Mission Impossible franchise from other big franchises in the world right now, mainly, you know, the superhero franchises from Marvel and DC. You know, you get the Mission Impossible franchise, and you know that they are really doing this stuff. Tom Cruise and everybody else is just willing to put their lives on the line just to get the shot, and the most beautiful shots you can imagine. Some of this was actually shot on IMAX, so those scenes also look fantastic. It's a real simple plot. It's just like any other Mission Impossible movie. We got a MacGuffin, and it's probably one of the most common spy movie tropes, in the sense we need to get our hands on nuclear codes before they get back into the wrong hands. Only this time, IMF doesn't have any backup, because IMF now has been completely wiped clean. They're on a mission by themselves with no help from anybody else, no government sources, nothing. They have to figure this out on their own, or they're all going to lose their jobs. IMF is going to be completely gone. That's why it's called Ghost Protocol, because Ghost Protocol means basically you're ghosts. You don't exist anymore. You get caught, you know, just like any other mission, you know, we're going to pretend you don't exist, but you get no help from anyone. You got what you got, and that's it. Get out there and solve this mission, or that's going to be the end of all of you. So they all get out there and they solve, and they have to figure this mission out. So it's a very simple plot, but it's just the most entertaining of all the Mission Impossible movies. I really have very little flaws in this movie. Everyone does a great job acting. The tone of this movie, like I said earlier, is almost perfect. This is absolutely my favorite of the Mission Impossible movies. If you're going to pick one of the 6 Mission Impossible movies that are out right now to watch, I think this is the one you watch. Actually, Christopher McQuarrie did some uncredited screenwriting on this movie to help fix the script up, and then he would eventually go on to direct Rogue Nation, Fallout, and then he's going to be directing The Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2. So you're really starting to establish what would become the Mission Impossible team in here, and I think that's why this is the start of where the franchise was heading, and I think it was heading in the right direction. I just think they perfected the Mission Impossible formula when Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. But anyway, let's dive into this 4K Blu-ray review as well.
Go to the extraction point, Ethan.
Go to the extraction point.
Oh, you're just gonna wait. We're gonna wait. I can wait.
Well, here it is, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol on 4K. It looks like the first 3 4Ks that came before it. You know, it's got that same design. You know, each of them have their own individual color pattern on it. So this one is more of like a orange, and you get the, you know, the iconic Tom Cruise walking around with that hoodie on, which is iconic in this movie. And I think that was another thing that they really were hinting at in the trailers, was this look that Tom Cruise had in this movie. You pop this slip cover off, because this is one of the ones that I got with the slip cover. Same artwork underneath. And then just like Mission Impossible 3, it's a 3-disc set, so you get a 4K, the movie on Blu-ray, and then all of your extras are on that 3rd Blu-ray disc. No individual disc design there, but I really do like the packaging. I do like how 1 through 5 have this very uniform look to it. I really did appreciate that. I wish I would have got slip covers on all of them, but that's a minor complaint, and that's really on me. I should have bought them all when they first came out instead of spreading it out. And if I would have got them all at the same place at the same time, I could have had it, but I was being cheap at the time, so it's really on me. But anyway, on this movie, you get HDR10, Dolby Vision, and I was actually surprised when I compared the Blu-ray to the 4K, because the Blu-ray is really solid. It's a really good Blu-ray, which makes sense. You know, the movie only came out in 2011, in December of 2011, so it's a more modern film. So it's shot with more modern cameras, digital cameras, so everything on the Blu-ray looks great, but yet it's somehow a huge jump to the 4K. The thing you're going to notice right away is how much brighter the 4K is over the Blu-ray. And, you know, the color temperature of this movie is very cool, so I actually really enjoy that. You know, that's like almost got this like cloudy haze over a lot of the early parts of the movies until they get to Dubai. And then, you know, obviously Dubai looks very warm, but yet the color temperature is still cool, and it still feels like that throughout the entire film, and the 4K captures that perfectly. I mean, Paramount, like I've said in every other review, when they want to, they put out some of the best 4Ks possible. The fact that they were able to improve the visuals that much from the Blu-ray, which again is a solid Blu-ray, you know, the Blu-ray is actually hitting a lot of those deep blacks, and they do flesh out the colors, but somehow they improve on that 4K. Like, if you have the Blu-ray, it's not a bad Blu-ray. You get the same audio track, which is actually a Dolby 7.1 on there, which is almost an Atmos track, but you also get a 5.1. You get a bunch of Dolby 5.1s in other languages as well. Plenty of choices of subtitles. I mean, Paramount really sprung for all the bells and whistles when it came to audio tracks and subtitles, which I did mention in my first Mission Impossible review, but I really want to make sure I highlight how much I appreciate them doing that to really make everybody feel like that they can watch this movie and come to it no matter what. If they don't want subtitles, or if they do, I really do appreciate them putting all these different audio tracks on there. Would I have appreciated a Dolby Atmos track? Sure, but you really didn't need it. For not having a Dolby Atmos track, this 7.1 is really, really, really good. This is the best of the tracks that I've heard so far. You know, it's an action-heavy movie. You hear things flying from every different direction, and it all works perfectly. The Mission Impossible theme, when it plays, it all sounds great. You know, everybody who's delivering their dialogue, it's crisp and clear, but the action sequences is really where you're going to hear the audio shine, and shine it does. I mean, it really is a phenomenal audio track. Visuals, again, phenomenal. Now, all of your extras, you have a whole third disc of extras that was included with the Blu-ray at the time when that was released, so the Blu-ray and the extras Blu-ray are just pack-ins from the previous release. It's not like it's a downgraded version of the new 4K. So the only thing that's added from the previous edition is the 4K, but again, having a whole third disc of extras, I will never complain about that. You know, they're all separated in the featurettes. You get to see how they did all of these stunts. You get to see interviews. I mean, I absolutely love what they did with the extras. Only thing is, minor complaint again, I would just love them to edit it together instead of having break it down in the little featurettes. But I don't know, how do you guys feel about that? Do you prefer it when they, you know, edit it together into one long feature film type documentary, or do you prefer it in featurettes where you can pick and choose which ones you choose to watch? I've always wondered, like, you know, am I the minority in that, or am I in the majority of that? Do you guys prefer it if it's edited together or not? Let me know in the comment section. I'm very curious about that. But regardless, man, just having all of those extras, deleted scenes, everything on that third disc is awesome. This really is the total package when it comes to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And right now they're releasing all these in brand new steelbook designs, so if you actually haven't grabbed the 4Ks yet, those steelbook designs, from what I can tell, all look really good. And people who've gotten their hands on the Mission Impossibles 1 through 3 4K steelbooks that I've talked to have all said that those are also really nice artwork. And if I didn't own these already, I would go out and get them because I am a huge fan of the franchise. But I mean, I don't feel like double dipping for the same exact discs. If there was something that was enhancing it, I would grab them, but there really is no reason to, because you're getting these beautiful discs regardless, and really that's the shining star, is how good this movie is, how good this disc is. I really have absolutely zero complaints about the Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol 4K. So overall, I have to give this a perfect score of a 10 out of 10. There is nothing wrong on this at all. If you don't have Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, I highly recommend grabbing the 4K, whether it be in the steelbook, or you grab the entire collection, or you just decide to grab the version that I have. Either way, it is absolutely worth your time and money. It is a perfect disc. This is a showpiece, in my opinion, of what you can do with 4K technology. Just to see the jump of what they were able to do from Blu-ray to 4K, where you already had a solid Blu-ray, but you were able to somehow make that even better, really is a testament what Paramount can do. That's why I'm always shocked when Paramount puts out a bad 4K, because I see that they can actually put out the best 4Ks when they want to. Hey guys, just popping in at the end of the video to do our weekly digital code giveaway. If you guys stuck around to the end of the Friday's video, you guys know we do this every single week. In Friday's video, I'll ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you have to do is answer one of those questions in the comment section below, and as long as you do that, you come back to Monday's video, this video, and then the 2 names that it lands on, they have their choice of the digital codes that you have seen on your screen before you today. And I asked you guys, what was your favorite Harrison Ford movie, and what was your favorite movie character of all time? We got so many great answers, and what really surprised me is the amount of people that actually picked Patriot Games as their favorite Harrison Ford movie. I really didn't expect that. That and Clear and Present Danger are kind of like the forgotten 90s Harrison Ford movies. They came out kind of right after he did The Fugitive, but before he did Air Force One, so it's kind of like in that weird window where we kind of didn't really talk about Harrison Ford that much, but it was really cool to see that people actually really do like Patriot Games. It's got a 4K I still haven't grabbed. I'm going to grab that soon and probably do a review for the channel, because it's been a long time since I revisited that movie, and I really do owe it a rewatch. And for favorite movie characters, we were all over the place, because that just comes right down to personal opinion. Everybody has their favorites. A lot of people picked Batman and then the Terminator. Those would probably be my 1-2. You know, I'm a huge Terminator fan, and I'm also a huge Batman fan. I have a Batman tattoo. He's my favorite movie character of all time, more than likely. But he has to compete with Arnold in the T-800, so I don't know. Those are going to be my 1-2, and really it just depends on the day when you ask me. So everyone who picked those, they were speaking right to my heart, but I really did appreciate everybody's favorite choices in there. A lot of good movie recommendations as always. I really appreciate that. That's why we do these giveaways every single week. And guys, we're only 5 subscribers away from 2,000, which means we will be spinning the magic wheel for a physical release, which is going to be Skinamarink on Blu-ray once we hit 2,000. So we'll probably be talking about that on this Friday's video. But enough of me talking about that giveaway. Let's spin this magic wheel and let's see who our 2 lucky winners are this week. First wheel spin coming up.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it
Daniel N. Wow, that was close. Daniel, we're going to remove you. Spin again.
Whoa, taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up.
And Lord Raiden. And there you have it. We got Daniel N again. I think he won a couple weeks ago as well. And yeah, he's been on quite a roll, Daniel. Congratulations. But we also got a first-time winner in Lord Raiden. I believe that was his first win as well. And he's been around with the channel since the very early days. He's actually helped out with some movie recommendations and recommendations for videos. So it's really cool to see him get his first win as well. And for everybody else who hasn't gotten their first win yet, I know Thomas Anderson, you know, he's been waiting for that test name until he gets a new name. A bunch of people who have been really commenting for the last few weeks haven't gotten their first win yet. Guys, it's going to come. I promise you it's going to happen at some point. There's people who have been on the wheel since the very, very early days who haven't gotten a win yet either. And I feel guilty because I've seen people get multiple wins and other people who haven't. But, you know, that's the name of the game. When it comes to, like, me gambling, I never win. That's why I don't gamble, because I'm a known loser when it comes to gambling. The most I've ever won is a cooler at a minor league baseball game where there was probably 20 to 23 people in attendance, and I was able to win basically just a really small cooler that can fit 2 to 3 beers max in it, maybe one sandwich, and that's the most I've ever won in my entire life. But I was so proud when I won that, let me just tell you. So, you know, don't feel too bad if you're not one of the winners, and especially since we do this every single week. So you come back to this Friday's video and we will do this all over again. This Friday's video is actually going to be the review for Insidious: The Red Door. So I'm looking forward to that, bringing back Patrick Wilson in the starring role. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But if you guys didn't win, you know, make sure you come back to that video. We'll do it again. And if you did win, make sure you email us at letstalkentmt@gmail.com, or you can always direct message us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Just let us know which of the digital codes you want, and as long as the other winner doesn't take that digital code is all yours. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here with me on another episode of Let's Talk. I hope you're enjoying these Mission Impossible 4K reviews. We got plenty of 4K reviews coming up this week with Jaws 2, Upgrade, and The Truman Show, and we will be continuing with the Mission Impossible reviews and the latest podcast with me and David, when we will be talking about The Man with the Golden Gun on Thursday. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you like this video, because that's the thing that helps this channel out most. And then after you're done doing all that, just go out in those streets and tell all your friends about us. We'll be seeing you around.